Hey, what's up, everybody? Once again, my name is DJ. Sitting back on about to drop another video to you guys. So this video, and once again, this is going to be under 10 minutes. This is definitely going to be under 10 minutes. I might not even post it if it ain't under 10 minutes. Y'all don't be believing. I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes. Let me stop talking. All right. So look, this is a response to somebody put a comment in one of my other videos. I think his name was like Spooky to something. I forgot. But I thought I responded back to him, but I didn't. So I figured I'd respond back in a video. Appreciate you watching, brother. Assuming you're a brother or assuming you're a man, but you could be with a woman. I don't know. I didn't check. But my point is this. He was talking about my last video, and I was talking about the reason why I say I can't fight. And he was saying that there's only one way to lose a fight. Okay. And he was talking about, we talk about fights. We ain't talking about like, going outside and duking it out, who the best person is. We talking about defending yourself against a violent encounter. That's what we're talking about when we say fight. Okay. So everybody says difference between fighting and self-defense. We know that. We talking about, when I say fight, I'm talking about defending yourself against a violent encounter. Okay. And he said there's only one way to lose that. Okay. And I think I know what he was talking about. And what he was talking about is the only one way to lose a violent encounter is death. I disagree, okay? And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I disagree, because there's a whole bunch of ways to lose a fight, a violent encounter. And I'm going to give you 3 of those ways. It's more than 3, but I'm going to give you 3, all right? Cool. All right. And by the way, the last one I'm going to give may be a little sensitive. I'm going to try to keep it as PG as possible, but the last one I'm going to give may be a little sensitive. So, I'm going to give y'all 3. Start with the first 2. Number 1, okay? The first way to lose a violent encounter is actually the definition of self-defense, okay? The definition of, I keep telling y'all, self-defense is a legal term, okay? And when you're using self-defense as a legal term, it means that you're protecting yourself against the threat of death or serious bodily injury. Okay, that's what it means. Some different states have different ways of wording it, but it's people say great bodily harm, serious bodily injury, or serious injury. So that is the definition. So if you get in a confrontation, a violent encounter, and you end up being seriously harmed. And when I say seriously harmed, man, look, I know people who have gotten concussions and it changed their whole life. They get migraines all the time. They can't work the way they was working before. Their whole life can change from a serious concussion, or something can happen to their. It's a whole bunch of things that can happen in a serious that can change your whole life. People have seizures, and it can get really bad. That's why I say you want to avoid situations as much as possible. But it can get really bad out there. So if you get into a situation and the person ends up seriously hurting you, where it's going to alter your life. I ain't talking about for the next couple of weeks or next couple of months. I'm talking about your life. That's a way to lose. That means you lost. You lost that encounter. You saved your life, but unfortunately, especially if they got the best of you and they walk away with no serious body injury. Okay, so that's the first way to lose. That's legal. You was faced with death or serious bodily harm, and you wasn't able to prevent. You prevented the death, but you wasn't able to prevent the serious bodily harm. Okay, so that's the first way to lose a fight, a violent encounter. Okay, the second way is that, and this is also under self-defense. You couldn't prevent the harm to another person. Okay, because a lot of times it's not just you trying to defend. It can be your wife. It could be your significant other. It could be your kids. Some people defend strangers. It all depends on what your situation is. And you was just trying to defend them from death or serious bodily injury. And for whatever reason, you wasn't able to do that. So they end up being, they end up dead, or they end up with a serious harm that dramatically changed their life. Okay. So that's the second way to lose. First way to lose is, and this is not, and we're not even including death. Okay. Death, that's number 4, but we're not even including death. Okay. It's not including death. We talking about serious bodily injury to yourself. That's one way. Or death or serious bodily injury to another person. Okay. Or serious bodily injury to another person. Okay. We don't include death. Okay. So that's the second way. Okay. Now the third way is a little sensitive. Okay. The third way, and this pertains to both men and women, although people think it just pertains to women, but it doesn't. It's men and women. I'm sure it's more women than men, but it pertains to both. And that is the R word. I don't even think I could say the word on YouTube without getting my channel, taken down. The R word, okay? Sexual assault, I could say that, okay? When you're trying to prevent the R word from happening to you, okay? If you're trying to prevent the R word from happening to you, or another person, which is 4, 3 is to you, 4 is another person, and you're unable to prevent that, okay? That can, that can be something that haunts you for the rest of your life, especially for a man. For a woman, it's bad. It's terrible. For a man, it's man. I mean, look, I've talked to women and men about this, and women don't want that to happen to them. The men I talk to say they'd rather die, than to have that. The psychological thing that can do to you, is it's just terrible, So I would say that's a loss. That's a serious loss. Okay, so I'm not even going to get me even more deep into that, because of the sensitive nature of the subject. But those are 3 ways. Matter of fact, we can spread them out to 5, really, because you're talking about serious bodily injury to yourself. That's 1. Serious bodily injury to another person. That's 2. Death to another person. That's 3. The R word to yourself. That's 4. And the R word to another person. That's 5. Okay. And I can go on and on and on about other ways to actually lose a violent encounter. But I'm not, because I said I'm keeping this under 10 minutes. I told y'all I'm keeping it under 10 minutes today. All right. But look, guys, you want to avoid a situation at all costs. If you can't avoid for one, you want to try to talk this thing down. Okay. You want to try to de-escalate. If you can't de-escalate, you want to get the hell up out of there. All right. You need to run. Skedaddle, yes. And when somebody said skedaddle. Now, one of the words, you need to get out of Dodge, okay? And if you can't dodge, then you need to fight, because you don't want any of those 5 things to happen to you. You need to get some training. All right, get some training so those things won't happen to you. All right, don't go out here with no training. All right, you have a right to defend yourself. All right, but you can't do it if you don't know how. All right. All right, guys, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me if there's other ways to lose a fight, or maybe you don't think those are losses if you're still living. I'd like to hear your thoughts. All right. Thanks, Spook, for commenting, man. And I hope you watch this video. Make sure you comment on this one, too. All right. Cool. Peace. I'm out.